Welcome. I'm just gonna start letting people in. We'll be starting soon in about 3 minutes. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm just letting people in, but as I'm letting people in, it is Monday, August 4th, and we do have a check-in question that we'll be putting into the chat. So give me as I am admitting more and more people in. All right, here's our check-in question. So if you look there on the board, it's to put your favorite color into the chat. So I could double check on attendance here, and then I'll be announcing who is currently absent. Great, so we got some colors there in the chat. It's a variety. Let me also make sure I'm good, good. Okay. Nude colors, that's a new one. Great, and if you're coming in, make sure you answer our check-in question, which is putting in your favorite color into the chat. And then I'll just repeat to make sure that we're not marking anyone who's here absent. Um, Oh no, you have this class. All right, awesome. So thank you all. Let me go ahead and repeat. So who's here? Um, so who's not here? So this is who I have marked absent so far, and I apologize if I missed you. I'm still trying to learn to be quick with this. So I have so far Justin's not here. Next off, I have Kevin is not here. And if you're here, let me know. Okay, no Kevin. Next, I thought I saw your name, but I'm not sure. Jimena, are you here? No, no Jimena. Okay. And that's it. So I have those three people. Again, Justin, Kevin, and Jimena are absent for this period. And if you're here, let me know. And if you're friends with them, feel free to text them, let them know that we have class. Okay, cool. So welcome everybody. Thank you for participating in our check-in. Let's jump into what we're doing today. Okay, so this session will be recorded. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure. Give me 1 second. Let me just stop sharing. I need to make sure. Yes, I am recording. So go back to my thing. Sorry. So this session is now being recorded. If you need a copy of this, just email me. I won't be posting them on Google Classroom, but if you need it, I will upload it and I will email them to you. All right, what is our agenda today? So one thing, attendance, which we've done. Two is we're gonna finish up our discussion about functions that we started on Thursday, and we're gonna have an exit ticket mini thing upon it. It's called a quiz. It's not really a quiz. It's more like an assessment to tell me how you're doing. So this is worth participation points. It's not worth a grade if that's what you're interested. So don't be like worried about this. This is just like an exit ticket for me and for you to know where you're at. So we're going to be having a teeny mini quiz. It's going to be for about 5 minutes. And again, consider it an exit ticket. Don't be worried about your score on it. After that, we're going to be moving on to our next topic. So we're going to finish up on our discussion about functions. And then we're going to be having the start of our notes, which will be average rates of change. So hold on, I'm letting in Kevin. So Kevin is here. Welcome. I'm marking you in right now. So we have Justin. All right. And I thought I saw Dennis pop in. Okay, he's not here. All right, so yeah, we're gonna have our interactive notes, average rates of change. Then I'm gonna remind you all about our asynchronous work. So we did have asynchronous work that was due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I did send a remind out, I believe on Friday, to remind you that it was due Sunday, or it was Saturday, I forgot. But reminding you on that, if you have not yet turned in your asynchronous work, right, you still have time to do it. I will not dock you down at all for it. But the thing is, you want to make sure you're on time with that, because if you're not, all the work is going to pile up and it's going to feel overwhelming. So you still have time to do that asynchronous work that was due Sunday at midnight. And I'm here to also remind you that our next asynchronous is already posted and it's going to be due tomorrow at midnight, 11:59 p.m. Let me check out the chat here. Yes, I got your attendance written down if you're here. So right now, so far, who I have marked absent is Justin and Jimena. All right. So a little bit about the asynchronous work though before we get started is this. So when is our asynchronous work due? Just so you know, I'm gonna try to make it a routine. But if you don't know when your asynchronous work is due, your number one go-to is go to Google Classroom. You do need to be added to Google Classroom, and if you don't have the codes, you need to email your teachers. They'll happily give you the codes. Yeah, to make sure you have that. So always check deadlines on Google Classroom. For my specific class, I will always make the asynchronous work due Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at midnight, 11:59 p.m. Just as a rule of thumb, those are when my assignments will be due. I don't know about the other senior teachers if they have some consistency, but that's going to be our days. And again, you just check Google Classroom, they're all there, and they have due dates on them. All right. Welcome, welcome. Cool. Let me know if anyone has any questions about the asynchronous assignments or any of the work that I just talked about. I did enter the grades in PowerSchool. So if you did it, you got your credit. If you did not, you do have a 0. So I can update that score as long as you get in that first asynchronous work. So let me know if anyone has questions on that. Okay. Okay, there's a question. Okay, internet problems at home. Okay, thank you for letting me know about that. So responding to that private chat. Awesome. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's move on from this. Just a reminder, our class norms: active listening, one mic, be kind both in and outside of the chat, respect different ideas, participate when asked to. Y'all are doing a great job with that, like putting in our check-in question. Be present, and yes, you need notebook and pencil for notes. We will be starting some notes today, but before that, we have our little mini exit ticket, which is a mini little Google quiz. That's gonna be for about 5 minutes today. Okay, before we get to that, we're gonna go ahead and finish this problem. So if you have your notes, you wanna open it up at this moment so that we can finish this problem that we left off with on Thursday. So we were starting to discuss. Let me give you that as I'm taking a look at and updating the attendance. I think we're all here now, so great, except for one student, but that's okay. All right, let's begin to finish up this problem. So on Thursday, we talked about why this was not a function. Now, an easy way to check whether something's a function or not is you look at the x value. X value is always the first one. So I think we labeled this last time where we left off. We said x, y. You want to do that for all of those in case you need that support. What you're going to pay attention to is if your x value is repeating, like this one, see how your input 1 repeats, but then your output is different. When that happens, it's not a function. So that's just an easy way to tell. Just check for when the x value repeats. So we put no, not a function. Okay? The next thing, now I don't remember where this class left off, but I'm gonna just do this whole problem. So the next thing we wanna discuss is what is the domain of this function set? Sorry, it's not a function set. We said it's not a function, so this is a relation. So what is the domain of this relation is what we want to say. So I'm trying to correct myself and using the correct words for this. So the domain is always your input values. So input means x. My first input value is 1, so I'm going to write 1, comma. The next input value is -2. Next is -1. Then the last input value is 1, but we already wrote 1 down here, so we're done. That's the domain. The domain is 1, -2, and then -1. And then again, if you have questions, feel free to unmute or to ask in the chat. So I should have updated that, Jimena. I updated that already, so let me check. Yeah, it should be updated. I marked you as here as you entered in. Double check that though, but I just checked right now. I marked you present. Yeah, you're welcome. Let me just X this out. Okay, so let me know if anyone has any questions on the domain. Now let's do the range. So the range, very similar. You're gonna do the same thing, except now it's every Y value that we're gonna draw. So the first Y value is -2. Next Y value is 0. Next one is +2. And then the last Y value is 3. So that's how we would fill in domain, range, and whether or not it's a function. Let me know if anyone has questions on this portion. Cool, if not, let me give 15 seconds on this so that you have this in your notes. And then we're gonna move on to the next part.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a question. So say if the X were all different ones and then the Y, there was, say there was two Ys, would that still be a function or not a function?
So you said all the X's are different, right?
But say if there was two of the same numbers for the Y.
Oh, so if Y repeats, but X is okay, right? Yeah, so if the Y repeats, it's still a function.
Oh, okay.
Only want to look for if the X is repeating. So it's okay for the output to be repeating, but not the X.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. And then I got another private question that says, how do you know it's a function? So basically, last Thursday, we discussed what a function was. And what we said a function is, by definition, it's when one input maps to exactly one output, or one input gives you exactly one output. It's not a function. No, I did not mark you absent. It's not a function if you have an input going to two different things. Okay, you remember? Okay, good. So I was just explaining a private chat question right now. They said, okay, got it. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Anyone else? And then feel free to put it in the chat. Maybe someone in the chat can answer it too, because some of you messaged me privately. Okay, cool. So we're all good here. Let me go ahead and clear my drawings so that we can prepare for our little mini exit ticket. All right, so this next portion, you do not need to take notes on. This is more for you to just take a look at, to pay attention to prepare you for the quiz. So you don't have to take notes right here. This is just an overview to help you. You can if you want though, or you could take screenshots. All right, so this is to prepare you for the quiz. The quiz, it's not really a quiz, but. Okay, so testing whether a relation is a function. So again, Thursday we talked about a function is a special relationship where one input gives you one output. If it doesn't have that special relationship, we say it's a relation. So that's the difference between the words. Now, we talked on Thursday about an easy way to test whether it's a function or not if you have a graph. So if you have a graph, you could do something called the vertical line test. Remember, if it passes more than once, it's not a function. If it passes once each time, then you're good, it's a function. So that's a visual image for visual learners there. Next one. What if you have two tables, right? Or if you have a table, how do you tell it's a function? So notice on the first table here on the left-hand side, all the X values are different, so we're good. Since I don't see X repeating, that's a function, that's fine. But notice here on the not a function section on the right-hand side, I notice that there's X's repeating. There's a 1 here and another one right here. And it gives me two different Y values. That makes it not a function. So that's using a table. Again, you're looking for where X is repeating. And then there's the one that we just did. What if you have a set? So this is a set of coordinate points. So if you have a set, again, you're taking a look if the X value is repeating. If the X value is repeating, you do not have a function. So again, you don't have to copy all this down. This is just an overview of what we talked about on Thursday. Let me know if anyone has any questions. or anything like that, you could put it in the chat. Cool. So no questions? All right. Let's move on from this. There is a last thing we didn't get to talk about, but it's the same idea. This is the last thing we didn't get to talk about, maps. Maybe you've seen this before in your past algebra classes or something like that. A map, we're going to treat it the same way like we do with a table, where on the left is your x value, on the right is your y value. So you could just do this. Like this is x, my input, and this is y, my output. Same thing here, if it helps you. To be honest, you know, in upper level mathematics, we never use maps. So I don't know, to be honest, I don't know why, but I guess it's a visual help. Like you don't have to be a pro at maps, but it's the same idea. So notice how right here it's a function because every input maps to exactly one output. Even if there's a little crisscross action going here, it's still a function. But over here, the one that says not a function, one input is mapping or going to two different outputs. See, the 5 is going to 4 and 7. So that makes this not a function. Whenever one input gives you two different y outputs. This is how you could tell from a map. Let me see if anyone has any questions on looking at maps. Again, you can unmute or use the chat. All right, let me keep this slide for like 30 more seconds. I'm sorry, 15 more seconds, unless someone has a question. And so then we can move on to our little check-in.
Mr. Donald, can you ask that question again?
Which question? My goodness.
The one that you want us to put in the chat.
Oh, there's no question. I'm also seeing if anyone needs me to re-explain the maps.
Okay, I understand it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and move on from this part then. Let me get rid of all my drawings. All right. So that was just an overview. You did not have to write all this down because we're just preparing to have that little mini quiz, which is an exit ticket for my class. Again, this is going to be participation points. It's not like whether you're right or wrong because we just started school and I just want to see where you're at. So in a second, I'm going to put both a copy of these slides so you can review the stuff we just talked about and also the copy of the quiz, which you will complete. You'll have about 5 minutes to do it, but if you have any issues, just message me privately so I could send you the quiz on your email or something. Some people I had to send in their email, so let me know. So let's go ahead and put this in. But first off, does anyone have any questions about the quiz thingy that we're about to take before I do that? Okay, let's see if there's a question. So yeah, it is going to be just like what we did. There's like 5 questions on there and there's going to be some visual pictures. You're not going to have to write down anything for this mini quiz. So that was a private question I got asked.
Where's the quiz at? Is it gonna be on class?
The quiz is at right here. So right now in the chat, you're going to see a quiz link and I also linked up the slides if you want to look at that as you're doing your quiz. Now, can everyone please click on the quiz link and let me know that you can see it first off, because if you can't, I'll have to email it to you separately then. So first, everyone make sure you can open it, and if you can't, message me privately. Does anyone have any questions about this?
I can't click it.
Okay. Can you go? Okay, you can't open it. Can you message me privately so I could get
How
your
about you just copy and paste it? That's what I do.
copy and paste it? Is that what you said?
Yeah, on a new tab. It works for me.
Oh, okay. So doing this is what was recommended. If you take the link and you copy and paste it in a new tab, so you could try that if you can't see it. You should see this, by the way, everybody. This is what you should see when you open up the quiz. If you still can't, can you please send me a private message? Because I need to see your full first and last name so I can email it to you. Yeah, so I see Angel, you private message me, and KK. Let me send that to you in a second. And then we'll get started once everyone's set. You feel free to get started if you got it. Okay, getting a bunch of people who need it, so give me a sec. And then the rest of you can go ahead and get started while I take care of the ones who still need access. And
We're
then
on my desk the whole time.
And I think another thing is like being signed into your school Gmail is what works as well. But let me go ahead and send it. So I'm sending it to your school Gmail. That's where you want to see it for those who are asking about it.
She can have some mommy. It's okay. Yeah. Anything that's meat related, she can eat. Sorta. A blank is where there is actually one output for every input.
Can you please mute yourself?
Oh, my bad.
Oh, thank you for that, guys. Okay, so I went ahead and I emailed to those who are asking me privately that you need the quiz. So check your school email.
Thank you.
Welcome. If it still doesn't work again, just let me know in the private chat.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, so everyone should have access now, and if you don't, like I said, private message me. So for those who are done, just go ahead and chill for a bit because I want to give those who just barely got access to finish it. Let me go ahead and start for 5 minutes. Again, if you're done, just chill for a bit for 5 minutes. We're in our last 30 seconds. And again, if you had any issues, I think we have 24 participants, but we have 22 who turned it in. So if 2 of you had some issues, please, you could email me or stay a little bit after our class is done so we could help problem solve that. All right, everybody, welcome back. So a question was asked in the chat, like when will we see our scores? Yeah, I intend to get through those today so that I could give you immediate feedback. And again, this feedback is for yourself, for your learning, and it's also information for me. And it's not going to be a grade attached to it except for participation. So you don't have to worry about a grade right now for this. Cool. Let's move on. So right now you should have a piece of paper or your notebook and a pencil. At the start of your notes, you want to go ahead and put our date, August 24th, 2020, and the title. We're going to be starting our conversation on the average rate of change and what that is. And our learning target is, I can determine the average rate of a situation. So you want to write that at the top of your notes. Let me put 30 seconds for this slide. All right, let's go ahead and transition to the next portion. And again, if anyone thinks I'm moving too fast, just let me know. It's hard to tell when I can't see like whether pencils are moving and all that. It's not like the classroom. Okay, so before we actually start talking about, find the average rate of change of this function, right? Like before I ask you those SAT style questions, I want to first make this like real for us. So when do we actually use the average rate of change in the real world, in the real life? Let's try this activity. So what we're going to do right now is for 15 seconds, you're going to be counting the amount of times your heart beats. And the end goal is we're trying to figure out an average what your heartbeat per minute is. Together as a class, we're going to take a look at how to measure the amount of beats per minute can help us determine a healthy heartbeat. So we're going to be doing a first count and a second count. And you notice here on my slide, I have a 15-minute timer. So again, this is to help ease us into what is an average rate of change and when do we use this in the real world. You're going to be using your intuition when you read a situation to guide your thinking. So here's the first thing I need you to do before I start our timer is you've got to first find where is your pulse. So there is a pulse on the side of your neck. Like if you're able to find it, then choose that as your counting point. And then there's another one on your wrist. So if you go to your wrist, it's slightly to the side, but yeah, so find where the heartbeat is and find which one you're going to count, either your neck or on your wrist. So choose it first. And every year I have someone who can't feel the heartbeat or they're having trouble. So I just say, do your best to figure out, like, I don't know, like try your best to figure it out. And what we're going to be counting is called a resting heartbeat. Let me take a look at the chat right now. Can we do chest? If you're able to feel it, yes. I'm able to feel it more in my neck and my thing. But if you're able to feel it on your chest, go ahead. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. So everyone should be ready to do your count. I'm going to be starting our timer and I'm going to make sure I'm not unmuted so that you know when to stop. All right. Ready, set, and start. Okay, so that was our first 15 seconds. Was that 15 seconds? I didn't feel like it. I'm gonna do, I wanna try to do a recount, but if that was 15 seconds, let's go ahead. I feel like this timer was already in. Let's restart, y'all. Sorry, I don't want this to mess up our counting. So again, find the heartbeat, and we're gonna do it once more. We're gonna do it one more time after that. All right, ready, set, and let me start the timer. Okay, so now that that was a verified 15, like I wasn't sure if I started this timer already, go ahead and write down in your notes what your count was. So in 15 seconds, how many beats did your heart make? So for me, it was 17 for this first run. And then we're gonna do it once more. And we're doing it once more just to make sure we get an accurate count of it. Let me just let in Jazeen. All right, let's go ahead and do our second count. So we're gonna restart the timer for 15 minutes. I mean, sorry, 15 seconds. Oops. And yes. All right, so find the spot that you're gonna count and we're gonna start. Okay, so for my second count, for me personally, and for yourself, you're gonna write it. I got 21 for this round. I think I might use my second count because I feel like that's more accurate. And let me see the chat. And then I couldn't tell what I feel. So it's okay if you couldn't tell. There's actually a lot of people have difficulty finding what their, like where the heartbeat is at, but it's okay if you just do it. If you just do it and, you know, you're gonna be placed in groups right now. So it's okay if you couldn't feel it. You could take what your other group members found and use their information. So don't worry, because some of you private messaged me that you couldn't find a correct reading for yourself. Okay, cool. So how is this activity going to go down? First, make sure you wrote down your numbers. Choose which one you want to find the heartbeat per minute for, because we're going to be doing group work right now. All right. So I wrote down my numbers, but here's our group work. So the goal right now, before you head into your groups, here's the goal. You're gonna agree upon a strategy to find out what your average heart rate per minute is. Remember, what we did right now is we just counted for 15 seconds. We didn't do per minute, we did per 15 seconds. So as a group, you're gonna figure out how to do it per minute. What is your average heart rate per minute? Once you all figure it out, you're gonna write down the strategy in your notes, because afterward, you're gonna put that strategy in the Padlet that I'm gonna share. So you wanna make sure that you're on task in your group. Once you're in your group though, once I move you into your groups, make sure you introduce yourself if you haven't yet, say hello, all that stuff. You are encouraged to turn on your camera to just better communicate. It is not required, you're just encouraged. And make sure that everyone in your group does a process check. Just make sure everyone understands how everyone's thinking about this problem. Does anyone have any questions before I start moving you all into groups right now?
How many people is in a group?
It's gonna be about 3 to 4. Any other questions on that?
So we can just use each other's like heartbeat or heart rate.
Yes. So if you were unsuccessful in counting, right, or finding it, you're gonna just use your partners or anyone in your group heart rate number. And that's fine.
Okay.
Great, great. Let me know if there's any other questions before we do this. Okay, so it's not Padlet time. All right, so in order for me to do the breakout rooms, I'm gonna stop my share. And you're gonna be placed in a breakout room. So in a second, you're gonna get a little sign that says join this breakout room, and you're gonna click yes, and that's when you'll move. Let me go ahead and create the rooms. Perfect, I think it's set. All right, everybody, I'll see you back in 5 minutes. By the way, I might pop into your group. Make sure that everyone's, talking about this problem, because again, we will be sharing our individual thoughts. All right, here we go. Make sure you click join. Oh, there we go. sorry. Go ahead and click join that breakout room.
Four.
Yeah,
Yes.
because for Jonathan, it would be like 8.
I got 64.
Yep. 32, 32.
Shakira, did you get it?
Yeah.
What was it?
9.
Okay, so I guess we can write 20 or 25 because we all got different numbers.
Okay, so what I was gonna do or was thinking of and like kind of writing down was that since we did whatever your heart was, mine was my second count was 22 and then my first one was 24. So
Yeah, because 22, 22, 20. Now I got 21. Then that's 44 plus 41. That's 85. And then 85 divided by 3 is 28.3.
Wait, what was your heartbeat, Jason?
21.
Oh, then divided by 4.
Great.
Girl, you're supposed to divide it by the people that answered.
So it's 20, 21.
That's not 4. It's 21.25. There we go.
Yeah, 21.25. There you go.
Boom.
Yeah. That's it.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry if y'all were still discussing, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring us back so we could all share what we figured out. And we're gonna put all our ideas on a Padlet. So give me a second, I gotta share my screen. Also, by the way, into the rooms that I popped into, it was really going great. I saw a lot of groups using the chat. I saw some groups thinking out loud. So it was really great in every group that I went into. Okay, let's go ahead and share our ideas on the Padlet, which I'm gonna put into the chat in 1 second. So make sure you're signed in with your Gmail. If not, you want to at least make sure your name, put your name when you make your contribution on the Padlet so I could give you your credit. Now this is participation credit, so just make sure you participate. There's no right or wrong right here. I just want to hear what you as a group talked about and what your ideas were. So on the Padlet, you want to describe how you understood how to calculate your personal average heartbeat per minute. So here is the Padlet. Let me put it into the chat. You're going to go ahead and click on that. And once you click on that, you should see this Padlet. And over here in the Padlet, I put in a sentence starter. So you're going to put in something like, I figured out how to determine my heartbeat per minute by, and you're going to describe the strategy. Use reasoning, justification to the best that you can. So if you look at this plus here, this is how you can add something. You can even add a column if this part gets too long. Does anyone have any questions on this portion? But you can start now. So if y'all can start typing. Do y'all have access to the Padlet where y'all are able to click it?
No.
No. I can't type, I can't add anything, no. Or respond. Now that's weird. Darn it. Okay, so because I can't really fix this that quickly, let's not use the Padlet, let's use the chat. Let's all use the chat right now. Go ahead and describe how you figured out what your heartbeat was per minute. So let's ignore Padlet. We can't type. I don't know what's going on with it. It worked for my last period, but whatever. So let's go ahead and just use the chat then. Let's just do that because I knew something was up. Nobody was typing. Can you do it privately? You can. But I definitely want, if you're okay sharing your strategy with everyone, please do so we could see what the strategy was. So use the chat. So here's one contribution that I got privately. We added everyone's heart rate, then divided by the amount of people. So that's one strategy that was used. Let's keep hearing strategies. So this is for your participation, so please add it into the chat. Next strategy is we shared our heartbeats in 15 seconds and then we came up with 20 since we had different numbers. Someone said I multiplied my heart rate by 4 because we timed it for 15 seconds and 15 times 4 is 1 minute. So that's a strategy as well. So they took their heart rate that was per 15 minutes and they multiplied by 4 because multiplying by 4 makes 60 seconds. Okay. My group didn't really talk about it, but we averaged 20 heartbeats. Another contribution said we added our heartbeats together and then divided by 4 and then multiplied by 4 and they got 68. Heartbeat times 4 multiplied by 4 and I multiplied by 4. So I'm seeing multiply by 4 being the most common strategy that you all are sharing. Great, great. Okay, and someone said they added up 4 times, which is like the same time, which is the same thing like multiplying by 4 when you add it 4 times together. Perfect, those are all correct strategies. Thank you for sharing. And if you still want, your participation credit, go ahead and use the chat. A lot of you are sending it to me privately and I read it out loud. But yeah, so I'm hoping the Padlet works next time, but let's go ahead and move on from that. Okay, let me present. So what does it all mean? So what you just found right now was an average rate of change. And I was making sure that we understood like where in the world do we use average rate of change in the real world? So we use it, for example, to determine health. So this right here is a resting heart rate chart for both men and women. So there are differences biologically with the heart rate of a man and a female. So that's why it's separated like that, in case you're curious. And don't be freaked out. I mean, this isn't like you could have just calculated wrong, but basically athletes have in general like a lower heart rate because they just have a lower resting heart rate. So their regular heart rate for an athlete in a male is 49 to 55. Excellent. And then good in the green zone, 66 to 69 beats per minute and so forth. Notice though, as you get higher, as your heartbeat is like 80 and above, it's negative. When your heartbeat is too high, you're basically susceptible to more diseases and or other things. So it's a health determiner. So that's how like people in the medical field use the average heartbeat per minute. And then there's the one for women too. So I'm assuming we're all near 18 years old. So if you want to figure out where your heart rate is at, you would check into the leftmost column here to determine it. So I'm gonna leave this here so y'all can take a look at that. And let me know if anyone has any questions about it. All right, cool. So yeah, so that's in general. Someone brought out like you even use rates like when example typing how fast you type in a minute. Sometimes people have a number for that too. So just in general, this is when we use average rates of change in the real world. Let's move on from that so I could discuss our asynchronous work though. So this was the start of the lesson. We're gonna finish this in our next class period. So let me just double check that. You'll be meeting with me again. It's either tomorrow or on Wednesday. Well, it's gonna be in your calendar somewhere. I'm trying to figure it out, but here we go. Oops, nope, not that. Not that. Don't worry about the checkout. I'm gonna move us into the asynchronous lesson. So I definitely want to talk about this. This asynchronous lesson number 2 is going to be due tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. It is posted already on Google Classroom. If you click on Classroom, if you click on Classwork, you should see it right there under Unit 1, Week 1. So that's where you want to click for the next asynchronous lesson. We already had asynchronous lesson number 1 due on Sunday. If you still want to turn it in, please do that. You won't be docked in credit. The asynchronous homework for today that's posted, right, but it's due tomorrow at midnight, is going to be finding the average rate of change of a function graph and a function equation. Now, what we found today was the average rate of change with heartbeats, but now you're going to be applying it to functions. If you're like worried, like, oh, I don't remember how to do that, well, don't frayer because I put in a video example of how to do it step by step. So you should have guidelines on how to do it. Does anyone have any questions about today or about our assignment that's coming up? Let me know in the chat or you can unmute yourself.
Do we have any other class?
Do we have any other what classes?
Yep.
Like you mean for my class or you mean for today?
For today.
For today, there we go. I printed out the schedule. No, you do not have any other classes, but you do want to check what asynchronous work your teachers have posted on Google Classroom. And ours is due tomorrow at midnight. Oh yeah, so a question I just got asked is, do we submit notes today? So not today. I will randomly have days where I do have you submit notes just to keep you on top of that, but today you do not have to submit notes. And then I have office hours every day at 10. And then for sure you can come into my office hours and ask for some help and support. So the video itself actually explains how to do these 2 examples that you see right here. So the video explains how to find the average rate of change in a graph and how to find the average rate of change in an equation. So I give 2 examples of those in the video. So it will tell you how to do it and it will help you do the rest of the assignment.
Okay, that makes me feel so much at ease right now.
Okay, perfect. And just let me know if you need help or come by to office hours. I have them tomorrow at 10.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other questions? If you don't have any questions, you're free to log out. That's it for today. Check your Google Classrooms. I'll see you all tomorrow. No, I'm gonna see you all on Wednesday in math class. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you so much, Miss Sedano.
You're welcome. And the learning target was I can determine the average rate of change in situations. So average rate of change in situations.
All right then.
Okay, you got it? Okay, cool. I was typing it out. All right, bye everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. And then stay if you have any other questions.